Hey guys, welcome back to Wealth Builders International. I'm your host, Dr. Felecia Froe. We are sponsored by Money with Mission, whose vision is every woman have the financial ability to walk away from any job or relationship that is not in her best interest. And as you know, we work to accomplish that by teaching, introducing, just working on how you think about money. Money is a tool. Money is something that should do work for you, not you just working for it. If you hadn't figured that out, I'm glad I said it that bluntly for you. If you'll do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it. It really helps me to know that there are people out there listening. I do love doing this. And believe it or not, there are days when I wonder if anybody's listening to me. So subscriptions will help keep this going. Today we have a pediatric anesthesiologist. I'm really excited to talk to Dr. Chiagozie Fawole, and hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. I apologize. She's a pediatric anesthesiologist, like I said, and serial entrepreneur, passionate about helping physicians and other high-earning professionals build wealth outside of their clinical careers. Sound familiar? We are on the same path. Dr. Fawole began her entrepreneurial journey during residency, where she successfully closed her first 2 real estate deals. She built a portfolio of multifamily apartments and pivoted to luxury short-term rentals during the pandemic, and is currently focused on acquiring local businesses from retiring owners. Dr. Fawole lives in upstate New York. Through her Savvy Docs platform, she empowers fellow doctors to create solid alternate income streams through strategic real estate and business acquisitions. We are holding hands walking down the street. With virtual and in-person events, she connects medical professionals with experts and resources to help them navigate the intricacies of different wealth-building ventures. Combining her firsthand experience as both a practicing physician and successful business owner, Dr. Fawole provides practical, actionable guidance for busy healthcare providers looking to achieve financial independence beyond clinical practice. She lives in the suburbs of Syracuse, New York, and believe it or not, she works full-time as a pediatric anesthesiologist. She is a wife and mother of 3 children while she is doing all the things she does. When you listen to that, keep that all in mind, because she's crazy busy, and I felt that she is loving the life she is living. So enjoy this show. I really appreciate it. Again, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you very much. Enjoy the program. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on and joining me. Thank you so much for being patient with me in my time mess ups. I really appreciate it.
It all worked out. Thank God. I'm so glad. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
I'm excited to talk to you. So the first question everybody gets, and all the listeners are used to it, what's your money story? How did you come to think about money, learn about money, and where are you going with it?
Yeah. As you alluded earlier, I was born and raised in Nigeria. So I'm Chiagozie Fawole, pediatric anesthesiologist, like you said. I was born and raised in Nigeria. We came to the United States when I was 16, and I started at Howard University. Now, I remember our trip coming from Nigeria. Just when we got our visa, my sister, my little sister at the time, told my mom and said, "Oh, so my dad can just send us $1 to buy all of our tickets." Because in her mind, coming to the United States was such a like a shift that $1 will be able to buy tickets for every single person. But it surely felt that way. So when we came to the United States, it was a whole brand new life. I went through Howard University as an undergrad, pre-med, did the whole thing, ended up at Johns Hopkins for med school, residency, SUNY downstate. But it was while I was at downstate, while I was in residency, anesthesia residency, that I looked around. And I noticed very subtly that we had, because our attendings at the time will buy us dinner when we were on call.
Okay.
And I noticed that there were some attendings who, like, for dinner, they're like, "What do you want to eat?" Yeah, they just doled out the cash and they paid however much it was. And then I noticed that there were some attendings who were like, "You can take $10 and you can take $10. And I was like, there's clearly a difference, because technically, being at the same job, they're probably paid about the same. So what does this one have that this one doesn't have, or that's making this one seem like money's a little tight versus these other ones here who seem to be more liberal with their funds. And I took that thinking a step further, thinking, I said, okay, clearly it's not just medicine. They have medicine and something. And I think I had gotten wind that the other guys were probably doing other things outside of medicine, but I didn't know anything other than medicine. That was all that I knew. But I began this quest. The quest was real because it included praying about it, looking for things, just like what can I do outside of medicine that could probably set me up for financial success later. I didn't know what it'll look like because, as you can imagine, we came from Nigeria, right? So we're figuring out, my parents are figuring it out. We're all like figuring it out together. And I remember one day I was in my apartment expecting my first baby, and my husband was out of town. I was watching TV, flip or flop, and I saw Tarek and Christina do a real estate flip, and they made $60,000 in one episode, which was maybe like a 3-month stretch. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
At the time, my salary was $54,000, and I said, whatever they're doing, they just made my entire annual salary in one deal. I need to go learn. And that began the journey of now doing entrepreneurial things, first with real estate, and here we are now.
I'm going to back you up because most of us get our money mindsets, at least the one that we struggle with or lead into much earlier than where you started. What made your family, I'm going to even start with what made your family want to come from Nigeria to the United States? Do you know what that was about?
This opportunity. I remember growing up, my dad was a lecturer at universities, and his salary, that was like a running joke, right? How the professors and lecturers' take-home salary did not take them home.
Yeah.
Like, it was so little, it was laughable. As a matter of fact, like if I were to translate, I mean, it's not the same, but compared then now to what it is now, it was peanuts.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity arose that he was able to do a postdoc fellowship. And so when he came, he spent a year here by himself, and the next step was that we came to join him.
Okay.
It also matched up nicely with my graduation from high school, so I was able to start college at the same time.
Okay. Do you remember conversations between your parents about money or conversations to you about money less than 16, like when you were a child, let's say less than 10?
So my mom had a fairly good job at the time, and so we never felt we didn't have, we never felt like we were broke or poor or anything like that.
Okay.
But I just knew that, okay, so if we were really to go back, my secondary school, which is like from 7th grade to 12th,
Okay.
was at one of the rich kids' school in Nigeria, if you may. It was called
Okay.
the Education Center. And I remember hearing about it before I got in. So I was probably maybe 8 or 9 at the time. And they had an entrance exam that if you came first nationally, you got a scholarship to attend, basically a full ride
Okay.
to attend. So it was among the best schools in the country at the time. And my parents wanted me to go to the best school at the time. But we knew for a fact that there was no way, like zero way of my going there if I didn't come first.
Okay.
So I remember having the talk in the car with my dad, and him basically saying, someone is going to come first on this exam. And I was like, yeah. And he said, you know that someone can be you. And I thought about it. I'm like, okay. And that was basically their way of saying, this is a chance that you have. We can't afford. Like, there was no quibbling about it. Like, I knew that we were not like rich
to go to that school.
to go to that school.
Okay.
But I also knew that there was opportunity. Conversations about money were never from a standpoint of lack. It was more so from this is who we are. This is where we are satisfied with where we are, but there's opportunity and we take opportunity.
I got it. I like the way your dad presented that to you.
Yeah.
Is very good. It could be you. Huh. I guess it could. Okay. And then you got to the United States. You have your parents had the opportunities. They were doing their thing. You had opportunities or seeing things a lot different than you had in Nigeria. And then you talked about medical school. Did you always want to be a doctor? How'd you get to medical school? How did that
go? So it's funny. We have a lot of in-car conversations. So when I was trying to decide, it was between medicine and engineering. And I remember I was riding in the car one day with my dad, and I was trying to sort out which major I was going to go to. And so I was like, I'm not really sure which one. And so he said, okay, let's talk it through. And he said, if you were in basically a resource poor environment, right? If you're in a poor country, in a place where people were hungry, who do you think they will need more? The doctor or the engineer?
Okay.
Now, at the time, I didn't see it like him nudging me one way or the other. I just felt it was him asking me questions.
Yes.
Now I'm married to my husband, I realized, oh yeah, he was definitely nudging me in his preferred direction. So I told him, yeah, doctor, for sure, because people are sick, they need care and all that. He was like, yeah. But also, we had a family friend who was already, I think she was about maybe 2 years ahead of me or something. And so she was like a built-in mentor for me. And so when I got to Howard, he linked me up with her and was like, here, meet Maria here. And so that was how the medical path started. But again, another money opportunity arose because after I made it through all the way to my senior year or whatever, junior year, and I was applying to med school, Johns Hopkins, which is where I ended up going, had an escrow account requirement where they basically said, if you are an international student, which I was, and you got admission, you had to put $255,000 or 251, something in that range, $1,000 into an escrow account by a certain date before your admission was finalized.
$250,000 plus or minus 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And I don't know if they still have that requirement, but when I think about on their side, I can see why, because international students were not eligible for financial aid. Basically, it was her way of saying, show us you can pay for this, but that's all 4 years.
Right.
One.
Up front. Yes.
Upfront, into an escrow account. Now, it was a prayer topic. It was all kinds of topics. We looked around, we talked to people, we reached out to different experts that we got linked up with that helped international students do different things. And they'll send back a message saying, as the acceptance rate for international students was 2%. And even that, like 1% of those get financed. And I'm like, yes, we know. We're trying to find options. And I kid you not, one day I was sitting in my room talking with my friend on the phone, and I was about to badmouth Johns Hopkins and basically be like, oh, whatever, young people talking to themselves.
Yeah.
And I had never had that experience before, but I literally heard on my other side saying, stop saying bad things about Hopkins because that's where you're going. And I was like, wait, what? So this is me. I have her on the phone here, and I changed the topic so fast. Because I was like, I don't know, but clearly I need to stop saying about Hopkins right now. And I switched up the topic. I just downplayed all that I was saying. But
Yeah.
it became a matter of, okay, now what?
How's this going to happen?
How's it going to happen?
Yes.
And it was due on July 1st. I had to have the money in the account by July 1st, otherwise I'll lose my admission.
Okay.
On May 15th, we had to turn down every other acceptance. So by May 15th, I had Emory, I had Howard, I had all kinds of other beautiful places that would have been great to attend.
Yeah.
But what I heard that night was so clear that literally May 15th, I will call each one and I will turn down the admission and I will scream, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But I know what I heard. And I was left with just Johns Hopkins. But I still had no idea how I was going to
May 15th, and I had to have $250,000 in their account.
Between May 15th and July 1st. May 27th, we were up late that night, and I just happened to check the immigration website. We had applied for green cards 2 years prior.
Okay.
And anybody who knows the immigration system knows that, like, it could take however long it takes.
Yeah.
I just happened to check, and I noticed something different. I had been checking before, and nothing had changed. But that day, there was something different. I'm like, I don't understand what this means. So I checked for each family member's name. And then when I got to my baby brothers, now they're 20-something, but my baby brothers at the time, it said the green card of the applicant is in the mail. And at that point, I lost it. My dad and my sisters were up. My mom was asleep, but she was a nurse, and you dare not wake her up because you were happy. I don't care how happy you are. You had no way of waking her up. We began screaming silently. We're like, jumping up and down, super excited that this was happening. But we couldn't dare wake her up. Now, in the morning, we had now a few days. So June 4, which happens to also be my brother's birthday, all the green cards arrived in the mail. Either that day or the next, I called Johns Hopkins. They were so excited. I'm like, I have a green card right now. They sent me all the application things. I filled out my financial aid application and we went to Johns Hopkins, basically.
That's how long ago was that? Because I know there's a lot of immigration stuff going on now, but immigration has been difficult for a long time.
Yeah.
How long ago? Just so everybody knows.
That was in 2008.
2008. Okay,
Yes.
so just
And as you can see, the details are still as fresh. It was so
exciting. That's because you listen to the voice of God. I've heard that before too, and that was so clear. And so many other messages are so foggy, and I'm not sure. But that I've had those clear. Okay, I got that. There's no other choice.
You ever heard it making
I can't even imagine calling all these other schools saying who didn't have this requirement, saying I'm not coming, I'm not coming, I'm not coming. That's huge. Okay. Now you've gone through, I'm going to jump back up to the story where you have these attendings who they have different, and you said what they have, but they also have different attitudes. Did you pick up on how they thought that was different about money?
Yeah, we had different people in our program. I just remember there were some people that didn't say anything about money. Now, when I got into anesthesia, somebody called my dad and told him, "Oh my gosh, you've made it." Right? He heard that I got in. I called my dad and told my dad that he'd made it. So I knew that there was a perception of wealth when you became an anesthesiologist, but it was never in the curriculum how to actually use the wealth. Exactly. Nowadays, you walk into the lounge where the attendings sat, because the attendings will usually be there and the residents will be in the rooms. And you have the attendings that were scrolling through whatever, like picking out watches. And then you have the other ones that talked about their business ventures. And so you only gleaned from people. Nobody will actually sit you down and tell you, hey, this is what to do when you make your money. No. But you could just sense from the sides.
Yes.
And so it just made the search even more like intense, because I'm like, everybody thinks you're going to make it. But I can see here that not everybody has
it. And you're right. They're got to be all making roughly the same amount of money. Yeah. But people are living differently.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know if the people who were more frugal with their funds may have had whatevers and whatever their plans were. We don't know.
I don't know.
And it sounds, however, you wanted to be the one who could freely spend, and you'd have, let's go. I want to make money. And there's nothing wrong with making money, y'all. Yes. We don't talk about it, but we all make it. And we all want to make a lot of it so we can do good things. It's not about the bank account. It's about doing things with it. Anyway. All right. So Christina and Tariq on Flip or Flop, I love that show, was sad when they got divorced, and then they went on their other shows.
I have followed them since, not as closely now anymore, but I've seen their story and I'm like, come on, guys, you gotta come on.
Me too. So you're still in residency when you saw this. What does your husband do, by the way?
He's in IT.
Okay. So when you saw that, and he's okay, these people made my salary in 3 months.
Yeah.
Did you guys do this together, or did you go off and go?
So I went down a rabbit hole he had never seen me in before.
Okay.
Up to that point, I was the doctor, right? Medical residency. That was all that I did. But then when I caught the real estate bug, it was like, who is this person? I was watching the podcast, like I would drive to work with podcasts. I would listen to books. I wasn't reading anything outside of medicine before then. That first year I read 14 books. Okay. Like he watched me transform from hyper-focused bookie, if you may, to this person that was talking entrepreneurship and business and all these things. And my family saw this as well and is like, who is this person? But the thing is, I didn't find my first deal. So I began actually going out and searching, because in that year, I found Bigger Pockets, which was pretty popular back then as well.
Yeah.
And in that year, I didn't have money. So I found a book that talked about how to invest in real estate with low and no money down. Yeah. And so I actually began searching for deals, planning to use my creative financing strategies that I had learned. So I was all over the place. But I will say, in the process of seeing me doing these things, he started warming up to the idea. Okay. See that I was invested in learning about these things. We had talked about wealth building when we got married, as we moved and all of that. And we talked about like finding a thing. Like he knew that I had I had tried to launch a makeup artistry business.
Okay.
During residency. No, it didn't work.
Okay.
I had tried to launch a bag making company. So he had humored me on those ones. But this time around, he saw that I was actually serious. And so when I ended up finding the first deal, which will end up closing on in 2016, he was confident enough to ride along with me. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to back up because I didn't know you had this entrepreneurial thing even before the real estate. So where did that makeup? Who thinks of that? Who or
It was my listen. When I said I began a quest, it was a real quest. Like I was on a quest to find something that'll give me something outside of medicine.
Okay.
Whatever that involved. In my case, it was that I saw some kind of an ad for a master class to teach you how to put on makeup. I wasn't even a makeup person, but I figured, hey, if you give me a business, and I watched this lady make 5K in one master class thing she did. We all paid $500 in her apartment in New York City. I didn't think of how I was actually going to do it because I was an anesthesia resident. Where was I going to be putting on makeup on people? But that was the very first entrepreneurial thing that I would do.
Okay.
It was really just the first symptoms of my hunger to do something outside of medicine.
Okay. All right. And do you remember, you said you read a lot of books, real estate.
Yeah.
And how long from this time you started, do you remember from the time you watched Christina and Tarek to you bought your first deal, how much time?
It was about a year, maybe a year and a half, a year, 7 months or so. So I know when I had the epiphany, which was in my living room, when my husband was out of town, out of the country, actually. So he wasn't traveling too often. So I know it was in May 2014. And then our first deal we closed in February 2016.
Okay. So about a year and 7 months, fairly fast, actually. And in that time, did you have any live mentors or coaches, or was it books and I'm going?
Wished I could have live mentors and coaches, but at the time, there were just a handful of people that were actually advertising coaching. And the one that I came across, the program was, I think, either 5K or 8K plus 50% of your deal.
Okay.
And I had neither.
Okay. Okay.
Either 5K nor 8K nor a deal to split. So I just knew that my only options were the books and the podcasts.
Okay.
And I dove in that year, the year 2014, 2015. I was barely on Facebook because I was getting all my social media just on the forums, Bigger Pockets forums, reading that by the time I was getting my deal, I was so fluent in the real estate lingo, in running the numbers, even though I had never done it before. I had it all in here until I actually got that first deal.
Okay. When you were doing it, did you feel like it was completely different and a completely different skill set than medicine and medical school? Or did you see a crossover in how medicine helped you be a better entrepreneur, real estate investor?
I would say just the analytic part of it, like being able to look at a deal and the numbers not scare you. Like I was like, it's simple math, right? Once I got the how much is the property going to sell for after you flip it? Because my first deal was a flip. So it was a case of find how much it'll cost you, how much you will make after you sell it, and then work your way back to your profit, building your profit margin, and then work your way back to your offer. And once I captured it, like from a mathematical standpoint, it was pretty simple because math, I had always been strong in math, and it was addition and subtraction. Now the deal management part, I didn't see. So I think one thing that has helped me overall in life has been my overall attitude of it's just. Very often it turns out that it's more than just a little bit, but just that initial thing of, okay, I can do this. They all have one head. I have one head too. We can figure it out. It helped me to venture into things that most people would be afraid of. But the good thing is I have my husband who is everything but just. Okay, so he takes the picture and he goes, here are all the flags that I see. Okay. How are you going to get through all of these? And usually, like when we first got married, it would be a case of like, how do you see all of these like roadblocks? And he'll ask me the questions and I'm like, when we get there, we'll cross it. But now over time, I have now learned to sit beside him and be like, all right, let's look at those roadblocks you were talking about. And so I think we pair very well together. Yeah.
Keeps you out of trouble.
Yes.
And I've just had this conversation with one of my business partners because I'm him, whereas like she thought I was wanting not to do the deal. I'm like, I want to do the deal. I just want to know where the problems are. So
Yeah.
we can be ready for those problems when we get to them. And if they don't show up, then great. We can have
Fantastic.
the conversation about it beforehand. And that I think it's hard because there's a
Mhm.
person that's a go-go
Yeah,
and there's
that's me.
hold on.
Yes.
Okay, now we can go.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Very good. So you decided your first deal was a flip.
Yes.
You did it did and how scary was it finding contractors and getting all that stuff done? It sounded like he wasn't so much in the hold back at that
Yeah.
point.
So the funny thing was that for some reason that deal wasn't even scary at all. It seemed like slam dunk. But we didn't find a deal in New York that we could swing because New York was expensive. So I found this deal one day just scrolling through I think it was like a Bank of America website. It was like a foreclosure. And
What
we'll
year?
look right now.
2008, 9? What?
This was no, this was 2015 now, 2015. Yep.
So we're past the
We're past, yeah, we're past all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just happened to be on there. And there were probably like maybe 3 or 4 properties there, nothing crazy. But it was in Norfolk, Virginia, which is where my family lived at the time.
Okay.
Well, that area, the Hampton Roads area. And so I reached out to my dad and I figured he could be my boots on the ground person.
Nice. Okay.
And he had some cash on him at the time. I didn't have any. So I partnered with him, and the deal was that basically he would bring the cash that he had. We use the cash as our cash infusion for a hard money loan. And then we will split the deal 50-50 because I had spent all the time on the learning and all of that. Theoretically speaking, I had the working knowledge and he had the boot on the ground presence.
And the money.
And the money, right.
Yeah.
So I ran the deal from New York. I found the contractors. I'll call the people. They'll meet him there. He'll have the engagement with them. And then we paid for things. Like I paid for things from here. I paid for things over the phone. Basically, anything you could do on a phone, I did. Anything that required being in person, he did.
Okay.
Now, that deal did not turn out like my flip or flop experience.
Okay.
It was more on the tuition engagement part.
Gotcha. Okay. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, basically, we lost $10,000 on that deal.
Okay.
That
You
very-
lost or you made?
We lost. No,
You
we
lost
$10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah, on that first deal. And after that one, I was like, okay, maybe flipping houses is probably not the place to be if you don't have money, because clearly it can go south. It can go south pretty quickly. And so then we went on to now buying rental properties, and that then began our rental property journey.
So that was your first and last flip?
Not our last flip. We've done maybe 1 or 2 more since then. But flipping has not really been our thing. What we've been doing mostly has been we buy, fix up, and hold.
Okay.
So
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
When you hold, you have time. Time becomes your extra cushion.
Yes.
When you're trying to flip,
especially hard money loans, you guys are high interest rate loans that you have for a short amount of time. They cost you a lot, but you are in them for a short amount of time because you know you're going to be out of this deal fast or be able to refinance it. Some way you're getting that money back to that person. And if it doesn't, the deal costs you more. And that's maybe where you lost your.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you learned.
Oh,
you
for
got
sure.
in.
No reason.
The biggest thing is I like your just attitude. And okay, I had that attitude up until 2008 when we lost everything. And then it was like, okay. And I'm getting back into real estate because it wasn't a real estate problem. That's I'm done problem. Let's figure it out here.
And
very good.
What you're saying there really was something that I had to learn, that it's not what happens. It's the story that you tell yourself after it happens that determines which way you end up.
100%. Oh, that was perfect. Very good. Yes. The story is what gets you where you're going next. Okay. So you did that and you've been doing real estate, and you still have properties, or have you divested from that together?
We still have properties. We have sold quite a few in the last, would I say, 18 months, and that's because of our focus shift.
Okay.
But yes, we still have properties. Now our focus, right before we did the shift, our focus was on luxury short-term rentals. So we bought lake homes, we have a beach house. So those are the ones that we currently have.
Okay. And then what made you shift into business acquisitions? What happened?
So the first hint, I'll say, was in 2020, right during the pandemic. I attended an online event that talked about ethically profiting in crisis, the Epic Challenge at the time, free ads for them. And that was when I first got the idea that, I could probably buy a business. But at the time, buying a business was still like this thing that other people did, like them. And so for the next 2 years or so, I will always just be like, it always felt that would be great, but it's for them. Now, we were also knee deep into our investing and our projects and things, so I didn't really get anything done. Then I went for an event in 2022.
I want to time out because we forget the fact that you're going to work as a pediatric anesthesiologist every day. How many children do you have at this point? And you have a husband. It's not like this is all you have to do.
Yeah, 3 kids.
3 children, a practice. And okay, I just want to make sure that this is not just your thing over here. She didn't quit working anesthesia yet and is doing these things also. It's a lot if you don't manage your time well.
Yeah.
I know people ask me now, how did I? And I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to do it and I did it. I remember getting up early. I'd be up at 4 or 5, work till 7, doing real estate, figuring out, doing all that kind of stuff, and then go to work as a urologist and come home and I don't know. It's
No, you just did it.
okay. So you were saying you were in 2022.
Yeah, 2022, I attended a live event, an in-person event where somehow they were able to just break down all the steps. Because I think what the first one was lacking was I understood the techniques that they were teaching, but I think somebody forgot the actual mechanical steps. You do this, then you do this.
Okay.
In 2022, after I attended the event, it was in August, I also met a young lady, single mom, 2 kids, who had just bought her first one. And she had bought a business, a coffee shop, that she said was her favorite coffee shop.
Okay.
She just had memories, pictures of them at the shop before she bought it. And she happened to now be the new owner. Well, she bought it with no money down. And in her first month, she made $30,000 in profit. So I thought, and I was like, wow. Like, all of a sudden, it went from what they did to what she did to now something that I could possibly do. So I went on from that conversation. And in the next 4 months, I actually I found a business. It was a landscaping company. And my dad actually came with me because it was in Maryland and they were closer to scope it out. It looked great. We made them an offer. They accepted, but we ended up not closing on that during due diligence. What I thought was a minor detail, but I spoke with the accountant and attorney during due diligence. They were like, no, run. And then I met with my mentor and now business partner, and he was like, yeah, on to the next one. I was like, wait, what? What do you mean by on to the next one? I had put down $28,000 on due diligence on that one. And in 1 minute of the conversation with him, he was able to determine, no. So I was like, oh, great.
Did you walk away from your 28K or did you get it back? You walked away from it.
I walked away. But the way I was able to rephrase that in my mind was, it didn't cost me $28,000. $28,000 saved me $1 million.
Yep.
Yes.
That's how you have to look at that thing. So I could cry and hang on to my 28,000 and stay in this business and lose, dig a deeper hole, or I could call that a lesson and move on. So when you started looking at business, when you decided and you saw that this is something I could do, did you have a particular business in mind? Or were you looking, how did you decide what to look at?
Because I had been in real estate, I thought, you know what, my best next step is to focus on like the home services industry. So I like the idea of landscaping, swimming companies, plumbing, HVAC, all of those. So that was what I particularly like landscaping because I wanted to buy something that I could use for my own backyard. Okay. That was my own personal incentive. Yeah. Now, I would say my husband was never on board with the landscaping thing. So the very first business that we found was a landscaping company. And it just didn't sit well with him, even up till today.
Now, what kind of business are you looking for? Same?
Yeah. So right now, I still have a thing for the home services businesses, but I know it's not going to be landscaping, at least not yet. But we have these 5 criteria. I'm happy to share a link with your listeners or viewers. Okay. If they go to savvydocevents with an s.com/5 things with an s, docevents.com/5 things, that they can get our 5 criteria of the businesses that we search for.
Okay.
So this is something that we've gleaned from different mentors, but even the mentor that I work with even right now, this is like his particular buy box that we've adopted as well.
Okay.
And the criteria is, even before we look at industry, is that does the business generate $1 million or more in revenue to start? If it's
In
not
a year?
in a year,
Okay.
yes. If it's not generating top line, like just bringing in raw $1 million minimum, we're not even getting the conversation. And the reason for the $1 million is that before that, people are still trying to figure it out for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this to be able to maybe replace our income, maybe cut back from work. So you need that as a minimum so that even if they have a 25% profit margin, which is our next criterion, that leaves you with 250K cash flow.
Yeah.
So we're looking between 1 to 10 million, roughly speaking. Sometimes we've looked for higher. And this also puts us within in what you call the middle market, right? You're not low enough that you're competing with all the mom and pop people that are trying to buy the very small businesses.
Yeah.
You're not so high that you're competing with the private equity companies. You're in this really nice sweet spot.
Yeah.
The next one will be the 25% profit margin, which basically says the business is a fairly healthy enough business that gives you room. The next will be the number of employees. And this has actually become my almost my number one thing, because once I get the revenue, this is my next thing. How many employees do you have? And that is 10 employees or more.
Okay.
So if they have 10 employees or more, what that does is that it gives you a bit of a cushion that if they sold the business to you, and let's just say an employee or two felt so beholden to the prior owner and they chose to leave, now you have 8 people, right?
Yeah.
As against going from 5 to 2.
Yeah.
And then
Then
the
you have
fourth-
8 people that hopefully know the business enough that are going to, yeah.
Exactly. Keep up with things.
Yeah.
The fourth thing there now will be the number of years in business. So we're not doing any startups because startups are known to fail. 95% of startups fail in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
So we want to skip the startups 5 years to 10 years plus, preferably 10 years plus. I have a particular preference for businesses where the owner is trying to retire because I can see why they want to leave, as against others that leave me guessing.
Yeah. I got it. I got it. Okay. Do you find, so one of the things I've started looking at businesses too, a little bit, but not a lot. It's just looking at people keep their books well enough, or you had to build a whole team that's looking at all this stuff with you to help you understand if what they're saying is real.
Yeah. So there's always a due diligence period. You always build that into your planning and your spending, but it's all over the board. Like I just reviewed a young lady's books that were impeccable. They were gorgeous. I had to tell her, like, your books are beautiful. They're clean. I was able to hand them to me like on request. And this is off market, but usually if you find a deal on market, so you find them on the Biz Buy Sells and any of these online platforms, a broker has usually gone in and prepared things.
Yeah.
How true it is, that's for your
Whole
due
other
diligence to
conversation.
find out.
Exactly.
But at
Yes.
least they have it packaged. If you find the business off market, I found that those usually take a little longer because they weren't thinking of selling their business, or maybe they were, but they didn't have any guidance. So you literally have to, I need this. I need the, matter of fact, just send me all your bank statements.
Okay.
I have gone through interactions where I've literally asked them to send me a CSV printout from their bank of all their transactions so that I can go through. Yeah.
For the past year, 2 years, what's your?
So we normally look at the last 3 years. And the reason for that is you want to be able to identify trends, identify opportunities, basically look at things like, okay, in 2022, you had $300,000 of repairs. All of a sudden in 2024, you have 0 repairs. Okay, maybe they're putting those repairs on a credit card that you're not seeing on the books. Like, you want to be able to see, because most people, when they want to sell, they're not like the 2 or 3 years prior, they're not usually thinking about selling.
Yeah.
So once they want to sell, now they clean everything up and then make it look good.
Yeah.
So the last few years, everything was like a dumpster, for lack of a better term. And then now it's all clean. But you really want to get a sense of what the full business is doing.
Okay. And you are helping other docs buy businesses or understand how to? Is that what you're doing now?
In 2019, I began teaching doctors how to buy real estate. Now, as I began to shift and I saw how the numbers were so much more favorable, I found it almost against alignment to continue telling people to buy property when I had shifted to now looking at businesses. But I also had no, what's the word? No pretenses that I was the expert to come teach them.
Yeah.
But still, I was still as sold on the concept of it that I put together an event in November last year. And while we were having the event, somebody asked the question, do you have a course? And I'm like, I don't have a course. But I reached out to one of my speakers, my mentor that I mentioned, because he had spoken on the event. And I was like, would you like to teach a course for our people?
Yeah.
He was like, sure. And so we did. And we had 30 people in that first group. So now, actually, in September, we're hosting this time a first in-person event, mimicking the one that I went for in 2022.
Okay.
Basically, now bring it to our physician community to now help people. He has 20 years of expertise, 50 deals plus, done multiple exits, $145 million in annual revenue across his businesses. And I'm like, I don't mind being the convener.
Yeah.
If doctors who are thinking of making money outside of medicine, like these numbers are numbers they need to hear. The business that I looked at last week, if our offer gets accepted, we could probably be making a cash flow before debt service of about 900 and something thousand. After debt service, about 500 roughly. It's like, and in one transaction, you could possibly make back my entire anesthesia salary. But it's one of those things where we're not racing to, let's get this in 90 days. No.
Yeah.
Steadily, strategically, due diligence, making sure. Yes.
In the businesses that you are looking at, are you looking at having to do, how much work in that business are you looking to have to do?
So that was the fifth criteria, actually, that I didn't get to that. We're looking for businesses where there is someone to possibly run the business without us having to become the day-to-day person.
Okay.
And it could be the seller, because sometimes the seller just wants to step away from all the admin stuff.
Yeah.
It could be a right-hand man or gal that they've groomed or raised that's been working with them. The one that I was looking at last week, she has a right-hand person, and she's actually been able to take time off the last 6 months. But that is like, my mentor would say, I'm not buying the business and then trying to figure out who's going to run it. No, we're identifying said person before.
Yeah. Yes. That's my thing, because I have started looking at it and I'll say, I don't want to run a business. I don't want to work that hard. Like I told you before, I don't want to work that hard anymore. Let me invest. Let me really like it. Tell us again when your course is going to be.
So it's going to be September 12th through the 14th.
Okay.
It'll be right here in upstate New York. And it'll be 3 days. So yeah, so full day Friday, full day Saturday, and then half day on Sunday. It's going to wrap things up. Yeah.
Okay. And where can people go if they want to sign up? Let me change that question. Where can I go?
It's savvydocevents.com/catalyst live. So catalyst, that's the word like a catalyst, and then live to live event. Yeah.
Savvydocs.com.
Savvydocevents.
Savvydocevents.com.
Yes.
/
Catalyst live.
Live. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll send you
the show notes. It's going to be in the show notes, you guys, because I'm going to be there and I know I want to hang out with some cool people. I'm really sure that there are going to be some cool people there.
Yeah. And that's really what we're working towards. This is what I don't bash events. I love in-person events. But the way we're designing this is really for it to be like the one that I attended in everything. So that, as a matter of fact, even when we decided that we'll do this, and I called Mike, and we're trying to figure out, okay, like how many days and all of that. We can't do one day. No, we can't even do it. So basically, you need it to be long enough that people can actually learn, imbibe, walk away, and actually go out and do deals, not just have come for a fest. Like, we're not doing for our fest. Anybody coming should know that they're going to walk away knowing how to search for deals on market, off market. They'll get access to Mike's proprietary software that he has for his own business. It's crazy in there, but yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'll be there in September. I already know there's no conflict in those days. It's like, God, I got a lot. So much coming on. Okay. I'm free that weekend. And I will walk away from there knowing what to do, how to buy a business.
Yes. Finding the business, funding the business, both traditionally and creatively. Mike has like a 10-thing stack that he does. How to grow the business when you buy it, what levers to look for and pull, what kind of KPIs you want to pull on to get the business together, When we did the last sessions, he even added like a little AI thing. Now, we haven't talked about AI per se, but he definitely wove AI into it.
Yeah.
And then his primary model is that he buys businesses to eventually sell them in a few years. He's like, the $1 million that you make during the year, that's not even where the money is. And I'm like, oh, I'm happy about the billion during the year. That's not where the money is made.
It's like doing a flip. You're buying it, you're improving it,
Yes.
increasing the revenue so that now the next person can come in and take it the rest of the way.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We're going to have in the show notes how to sign up for the class. Is that the best way to get in touch with you, or how's the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me usually is on Facebook, because that's just usually where I hang out. So Chiagozie Fawole. Let's see, where else? Yeah. Really, I'm probably the only Chiagozie Fawole you find. So if you Google me and you find anything that looks like that, it's probably me.
And she is the only one. If you get the spelling right, that's her. Okay. This has been really good. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to say? All of the connections, all that, you guys, I know nobody's sitting down with a pen and paper writing down everything we just said. It's going to be in the show notes.
Yes.
Go there if you're halfway interested in making money. And I know you listen to this podcast, so you're more than halfway in. Let's go. Let's go to New York and have a good time. This is really exciting. Thank you
for having me on.
All right. Thank you. See you guys next week.